Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." These words, written centuries ago, still echo with profound truth today. Life throws challenges at us all: stress, uncertainty, adversity. But what if the key to conquering these battles lies not in changing the world around us, but in mastering the way we respond to it? This is where Stoic Mentorship steps in, offering timeless wisdom to help us navigate life's storms with discipline and resilience. Stoicism isn't about suppressing emotions or ignoring hardships. It's about cultivating emotional control, shifting our perspective, and taking purposeful action tools that are as relevant now as they were in ancient times. In this video, we'll explore how Stoic principles can empower you to face life's toughest moments with clarity and strength. But first, let's ask ourselves, what if the fiercest battles we face aren't against the world around us, but within ourselves? The first step to conquering life's battles is becoming your own Stoic mentor. This idea might sound simple, but it's a profound shift in how we approach challenges. Stoicism teaches us that the most powerful guidance doesn't come from external sources, it comes from within. By cultivating self-awareness and discipline, we can learn to navigate life's ups and downs with clarity and purpose. This is the essence of self-mentorship, using reason and reflection to guide our actions and emotions rather than being swept away by them. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's great teachers, once said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." This isn't about perfection or never feeling doubt or fear. It's about recognizing that we have the ability to respond to life's events thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. When we act as our own mentors, we take responsibility for our inner world, no matter what's happening outside. Think about how this applies to everyday life. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, running late for an important meeting. The frustration builds, and it's easy to let that stress take over. But what if in that moment you paused and reminded yourself that while you can't control the traffic, you can control how you respond to it? That small shift, choosing calm over chaos, is self-mentorship in action. It's about stepping back, assessing the situation, and deciding how you want to move forward. So, where in your life could you start mentoring yourself better? Is it in managing stress, handling criticism, or staying focused on your goals? Take a moment to reflect on one area where you'd like to exercise more self-guidance. Because the truth is, the best mentor you'll ever have is the one who already knows you better than anyone else. How much of your stress comes from trying to control the uncontrollable? It's a question worth asking, because more often than not, we exhaust ourselves trying to bend the world to our will, only to find it slipping through our fingers. This is where Stoicism introduces one of its most transformative ideas, the dichotomy of control. At its core, this principle teaches us to focus our energy solely on what we can influence and to let go of what we cannot. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, put it plainly: some things are within our power while others are not. What's within our power? Our thoughts, actions, and responses. What's not? Everything else: other people's opinions, external events, even the weather. This distinction might seem simple, but its implications are profound. When we stop trying to control what's beyond our reach, we free ourselves from frustration and wasted effort. Let's bring this into a real-world scenario. Imagine you've just delivered a presentation at work. You've prepared thoroughly, practiced your delivery, and done your best. But afterward, you find out that not everyone was impressed. If you focus on what's outside your control, their opinions, their expectations, you'll likely feel defeated. But if you shift your focus to what is within your control, your preparation, your effort, and how you choose to respond to feedback, you can walk away with a sense of pride and clarity, regardless of the outcome. This is the power of the dichotomy of control. It's not about giving up or being passive. It's about directing your energy wisely. It's about recognizing that while you can't control the waves, you can learn to steer your ship. So here's a challenge for you. Take a moment to list 3 things in your life that you can't control. Maybe it's a colleague's attitude, the outcome of a project, or even the traffic on your commute. Now ask yourself, how can I release my attachment to these things? How can I redirect my focus to what I can influence? This small exercise isn't just about letting go, it's about reclaiming your power. Because when you stop fighting against the uncontrollable, you create space for what truly matters. Resilience isn't about avoiding pain, it's about mastering your response to it. This is the heart of emotional resilience, and Stoicism offers a powerful framework to help us build it. Life will always bring challenges, heartbreak, failure, disappointment, but Stoicism teaches us that we don't have to be overwhelmed by them. Instead, we can train ourselves to face adversity with strength and clarity. One of the most powerful tools Stoicism offers is negative visualization. This practice involves imagining worst-case scenarios, not to dwell on them, but to prepare for them. By visualizing what could go wrong, we reduce the fear of the unknown and develop a mental roadmap for handling difficulties. Think of it as emotional muscle building. When we've already considered how we might handle a setback, we're far less likely to be blindsided by it. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, put it this way: difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. His words remind us that hardship isn't something to fear, it's an opportunity to grow. When we embrace challenges as part of life's natural rhythm, we stop resisting them and start learning from them. Let's take this into a real-world example. Imagine you've just received unexpected criticism at work. It stings, and your first instinct might be to react defensively or spiral into self-doubt. But what if you'd already practiced negative visualization? You might have considered how you'd handle criticism calmly, reflect on its validity, and use it to improve. This mental preparation doesn't eliminate the pain, but it gives you a way to move through it with purpose. Stoicism also introduces the concept of premeditatio malorum, or the premeditation of evils. This isn't about expecting the worst, it's about being ready for it. When we anticipate challenges, we're not caught off guard. We're able to respond with resilience rather than react with panic. So here's a question to consider. What's one challenge you're currently facing, and how could you approach it with greater resilience? Maybe it's a strained relationship, a professional setback, or even a personal fear. Take a moment to reflect on how you might shift your perspective, seeing this challenge not as a roadblock but as a chance to grow. Because true resilience isn't about never falling, it's about learning how to rise every time you do. Every obstacle is an opportunity to grow if you choose to see it that way. This isn't just a motivational saying, it's a cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. The Stoics believed that adversity isn't something to avoid or resent. It's a chance to practice virtue, to strengthen our character, and to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world. Marcus Aurelius put it beautifully when he said, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." In other words, the challenges we face aren't roadblocks, they're stepping stones. This shift in perspective is one of the most powerful tools Stoicism offers. It's not about denying the difficulty of a situation or pretending everything is fine. It's about recognizing that even in the midst of hardship, we have the ability to choose how we see it. A setback can be a source of frustration, or it can be a teacher. A failure can feel like the end of the road, or it can be the beginning of a new path. The choice is ours. Take, for example, a situation many of us have faced, a project that didn't go as planned. Maybe you poured hours of effort into a goal only to fall short. The immediate reaction might be disappointment, even self-doubt. But what if, instead of focusing on what went wrong, you asked yourself, what can I learn from this? What skills did I develop along the way? How can this experience make me better prepared for the next challenge? This is reframing in action. It's not about ignoring the pain of failure, it's about finding meaning in it. The Stoics called this process amor fati, or the love of fate. It's about embracing everything that happens to us, not because it's easy, but because it's part of our journey. When we learn to see challenges as opportunities, we stop resisting life and start working with it. We become more adaptable, more resilient, and more at peace with whatever comes our way. So here's a question to reflect on. What's one challenge in your life that you could reframe? Maybe it's a personal struggle, a professional setback, or even a recurring frustration. How might seeing it as an opportunity to grow change your approach? Because the truth is, the way we see our obstacles often determines whether they hold us back or propel us forward. What would your life look like if you embraced discipline as a daily practice? It's a question worth asking because in Stoic philosophy, discipline isn't just a tool, it's a virtue. It's the bridge between intention and action, the force that turns abstract ideals into lived reality. For the Stoics, discipline wasn't about punishment or restriction. It was about aligning our actions with our highest values, cultivating self-control, and living with purpose. At its core, Stoic discipline is about temperance, a balance between indulgence and deprivation. It's about knowing when to say yes and when to say no, not out of fear, but out of respect for our own well-being. Seneca, the Roman Stoic, put it simply, we must indulge the mind and from time to time allow it the leisure that is its food and strength. But he also warned against excess, reminding us that true freedom comes from mastering our impulses, not being ruled by them. Discipline also plays a key role in courage, another Stoic virtue. It takes courage to stay committed to your goals when distractions abound, to rise early when you'd rather sleep in, or to choose the harder but more meaningful path. But this kind of courage isn't about grand gestures. It's found in the small, consistent choices we make every day. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're trying to build a habit of daily exercise. At first, it's easy to feel motivated, but over time, that enthusiasm fades. What keeps you going isn't motivation, it's discipline. It's the decision to lace up your shoes even when you don't feel like it, to show up for yourself even when it's uncomfortable. Over time, these small acts of discipline compound, not just in the results you see, but in the strength of character they build. Time management is another area where Stoic discipline shines. How often do we waste hours scrolling through social media or procrastinating on tasks that matter? Discipline helps us reclaim that time, not by cutting out all leisure, but by prioritizing what truly aligns with our goals. It's about saying, this is important, and then acting on it, even when it's easier to put it off. So here's a challenge for you. What's one area of your life where you could practice greater discipline? Maybe it's waking up earlier, dedicating time to a passion project, or simply being more present in your relationships. Whatever it is, start small. Choose one actionable step and commit to it, because discipline at its heart isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up day after day and becoming the person you know you're capable of being. True freedom comes from letting go of what you cannot control. This idea lies at the heart of Stoic detachment, a practice that invites us to release our grip on external outcomes and focus instead on what truly matters, our inner virtues and choices. It's not about indifference or apathy, it's about understanding that our peace of mind doesn't depend on the world around us, but on how we choose to engage with it. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, offers a powerful insight. Wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This isn't a call to abandon ambition or stop striving for success. It's a reminder that when we tie our happiness to things outside our control, whether it's wealth, status, or the opinions of others, we set ourselves up for disappointment. True wealth, as Epictetus suggests, comes from cultivating contentment within ourselves, regardless of what we have or don't have. Detachment doesn't mean we stop caring about results. Instead, it shifts our focus from the outcome to the effort. Think about a competitive environment like a job interview or a sports match. It's natural to want to win, to achieve the result we're aiming for. But when we become overly attached to that outcome, the fear of failure can paralyze us. Detachment allows us to give our best effort without being consumed by anxiety. It's about saying, I'll do everything I can, but I won't let the result define me. This practice is especially powerful in moments of uncertainty or loss. Imagine you've worked tirelessly on a project only to see it fall apart. Without detachment, it's easy to feel crushed, as if your worth is tied to that one outcome. But with detachment, you can step back and say, I gave it my all. The result doesn't diminish my effort or my value. This shift doesn't erase the pain, but it gives you the clarity to move forward without being weighed down. So here's a question to reflect on. What are you overly attached to? Is it a specific goal, a relationship, or even a particular image of how life should be? Take a moment to consider how you might loosen that attachment, not by abandoning what you care about, but by focusing on what you can control, your effort, your mindset, and your ability to grow through every experience. Because when we stop clinging to outcomes, we create space for something far more valuable: inner freedom. How often do you truly live in the present moment? In a world that constantly pulls us into the past or future, regrets about what's already happened, worries about what's yet to come, Stoicism offers a grounding reminder. The only moment we ever truly have is the one we're in right now. This isn't just a philosophical idea, it's a practical tool for cultivating peace, focus, and deeper connections in our lives. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, put it this way: concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with precise and genuine seriousness. His words remind us that presence isn't about passively observing life, it's about actively engaging with it. When we're fully present, we're not distracted by what's outside our control. Instead, we give our full attention to what we're doing, who we're with, and how we're choosing to live. This practice has profound implications for how we experience life. Think about the last time you were truly present, maybe during a meaningful conversation, a walk in nature, or even a quiet moment of reflection. Chances are you felt more alive, more connected, and more at peace. That's the power of presence. It's not about escaping reality, it's about fully inhabiting it. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're at dinner with a loved one, but your mind is racing, thinking about work, scrolling through your phone, or planning tomorrow's to-do list. How much of that moment are you actually experiencing? Now, imagine putting your phone away, making eye contact, and truly listening. That simple act of presence can transform the quality of your connection, making the moment richer and more meaningful. Stoic presence also helps us manage stress. When we're overwhelmed, it's often because we're trying to carry the weight of the past and the future at the same time. But when we focus on the present, on the task at hand, the breath we're taking, the step we're making, we find that the load becomes lighter. It's not that our challenges disappear, it's that we meet them with clarity and calm, one moment at a time. So here's a challenge for you. Choose one activity today, whether it's a conversation, a meal, or even a routine task, and commit to being fully present for it. Notice the details, engage with intention, and let go of distractions. How does it change your experience of that moment? Because the truth is, life isn't just happening around us, it's happening to us moment by moment. And when we show up fully, we don't just live more deeply, we live more authentically. adversity is not your enemy, it's your greatest teacher. This might sound counterintuitive, especially when we're in the thick of a struggle. But Stoicism teaches us that hardship isn't something to avoid or resent, it's an essential part of growth. The Stoics believed that challenges are the forge where resilience, wisdom, and character are shaped. Without adversity, we wouldn't have the opportunity to test our limits, refine our values, and discover our strength. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most influential thinkers, put it this way: difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. His words remind us that adversity isn't a punishment, it's a training ground. Just as lifting weights builds muscle, facing challenges builds mental and emotional fortitude. It's not the absence of difficulty that makes us strong, it's how we respond to it. Think about a time when you faced a significant challenge, perhaps a personal loss, a professional setback, or a moment of self-doubt. In the moment, it might have felt overwhelming, even unbearable. But looking back, didn't that experience teach you something valuable? Maybe it showed you how resourceful you could be, how much you could endure, or even how to find meaning in the midst of struggle. That's the gift of adversity. It doesn't just test us, it transforms us. Let's take this into a practical example. Imagine you've just lost a job you loved. At first, it feels like a devastating blow, but over time you begin to see it differently. Maybe it pushes you to explore a new career path, one you hadn't considered before. Or perhaps it teaches you the importance of adaptability and resilience. The adversity itself doesn't change, but your relationship to it does. What once felt like a loss becomes a catalyst for growth. This is the Stoic perspective. Adversity isn't something to fear, it's something to embrace. It's the fire that tempers our spirit, the obstacle that becomes the way forward. When we stop resisting hardship and start learning from it, we unlock a deeper understanding of ourselves and our potential. So, here's a question to reflect on. What's one challenge you faced that ultimately made you stronger? Maybe it was a failure that taught you resilience, a loss that deepened your empathy, or a setback that led to an unexpected opportunity. Take a moment to think about what that experience taught you and how it shaped the person you are today. Because when we see adversity not as a barrier but as a teacher, we open ourselves to a life of continuous growth and transformation. How can Stoic mentorship help you build stronger connections? At first glance, Stoicism might seem like a philosophy focused on personal resilience, and it is, but its principles also hold profound wisdom for how we relate to others. Relationships, whether with family, friends, or colleagues, are often where life's most significant challenges and rewards unfold. And Stoicism offers tools to navigate these connections with empathy, patience, and understanding. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "What injures the hive injures the bee." This simple yet profound statement reminds us that our well-being is deeply intertwined with the well-being of those around us. When we approach relationships with kindness and a sense of shared purpose, we not only strengthen our bonds but also create a foundation for mutual growth. Stoicism teaches us to see others not as obstacles or sources of conflict, but as fellow travelers on the journey of life. One of the most powerful Stoic practices for relationships is sympatheia, the idea of interconnectedness. This principle encourages us to recognize that we're all part of a larger whole, each playing our role in the grand scheme of things. When we embrace this mindset, we're more likely to approach disagreements with curiosity rather than defensiveness, to listen deeply rather than react impulsively, and to extend compassion even when it's difficult. Let's bring this into a practical scenario. Imagine you're in a heated argument with a loved one. Emotions are running high and it's easy to get caught up in the moment. But what if, instead of escalating the conflict, you paused and asked yourself, what's really at stake here? How can I approach this with empathy and understanding? This shift in perspective doesn't mean ignoring your feelings. It means choosing to respond in a way that fosters connection rather than division. Stoicism also emphasizes the importance of patience. Relationships, like any meaningful endeavor, take time and effort. They require us to show up consistently, even when it's inconvenient or uncomfortable. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about committing to the work of understanding and supporting one another, even when it's challenging. So, here's a question to reflect on. How can you apply Stoic principles in your next interaction? Whether it's a conversation with a partner, a colleague, or even a stranger, consider how you might approach it with greater empathy and patience. How can you listen more deeply, respond more thoughtfully, and strive for connection over conflict? Because in the end, the strength of our relationships often determines the richness of our lives. A life without purpose is a life without direction. This isn't just a philosophical observation, it's a truth that resonates deeply with the Stoic approach to living. Stoicism teaches us that purpose isn't something we stumble upon by chance. It's something we cultivate by aligning our actions with our deepest values. When we live in harmony with what truly matters to us, we find not only direction but also a profound sense of fulfillment. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, offered a simple yet powerful guideline. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. His words remind us that purpose begins with clarity. It's about knowing who we want to be, the kind of person we aspire to become, and then taking deliberate steps to embody those ideals. This isn't about grand, sweeping gestures. It's about the small, consistent choices we make every day. Think about it this way: purpose isn't a distant destination, it's the path we walk. It's found in the way we treat others, the effort we put into our work, and the care we take with our own growth. When we align our actions with our values, we create a life that feels meaningful, not because it's easy, but because it's true to who we are. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you value honesty above all else. How might that shape your daily choices? Maybe it means speaking up when it's uncomfortable, admitting mistakes instead of hiding them, or choosing transparency even when it's inconvenient. These actions aren't always easy, but they reinforce your sense of purpose, grounding you in what you believe. Purpose also helps us navigate life's uncertainties. When we're clear about what matters most, we're less likely to be thrown off course by setbacks or distractions. Challenges still arise, but they don't derail us because we have a compass, a set of values that guides our decisions and keeps us focused on what's important. So, here's a question to reflect on. What's one value you want to align your actions with? Is it kindness, courage, creativity, or something else entirely? Take a moment to consider how you might bring that value to life in your daily choices. Because when we live with purpose, we don't just move through the world, we shape it one intentional step at a time. What would your life look like if you practiced gratitude daily? It's a simple question, but the impact of gratitude on our mindset and well-being is anything but small. Stoicism, often associated with resilience and discipline, also offers profound wisdom on the power of gratitude. At its core, gratitude is about shifting our focus from what we lack to what we already have, from what's missing to what's present. It's a practice that doesn't deny life's challenges but helps us see them in a broader, more balanced light. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, once wrote, "True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future." His words remind us that gratitude isn't about waiting for everything to be perfect. It's about finding value and meaning in the here and now. When we pause to appreciate what's already around us, we cultivate a sense of contentment that isn't tied to external circumstances. This shift in perspective can be transformative, helping us navigate life's ups and downs with greater ease and grace. Gratitude also has a ripple effect. Studies have shown that practicing gratitude can improve mental health, reduce stress, and even strengthen relationships. When we express appreciation, whether for a kind gesture, a moment of beauty, or simply being alive, we not only uplift ourselves but also those around us. It's a practice that connects us, reminding us of the goodness that exists even in difficult times. Let's bring this into a practical example. Imagine you're having a tough day. Work is overwhelming, your to-do list feels endless, and you're stuck in a cycle of frustration. Now imagine taking a moment to pause and list 3 things you're grateful for. Maybe it's the support of a loved one, the comfort of a warm meal, or even the fact that you have the strength to face another day. That simple act of reflection can shift your mood, helping you approach the rest of your day with more clarity and calm. The Stoics saw gratitude as a form of mental discipline, a way to train our minds to focus on abundance rather than scarcity. It's not about ignoring life's hardships, but about balancing them with an awareness of the good that still exists. This practice doesn't require grand gestures. It's found in the small, everyday moments we often overlook. So here's a challenge for you. Take a moment to list 3 things you're grateful for today. They don't have to be big or extraordinary, just meaningful to you. Notice how this simple exercise changes the way you feel, even if just for a moment. Because when we practice gratitude, we don't just change our perspective, we change our experience of life itself. Courage is not the absence of fear, it's acting despite it. This bold truth lies at the heart of Stoicism's approach to fear. The Stoics didn't see fear as something to avoid or suppress. They saw it as an opportunity, a chance to practice bravery and strengthen our character. Fear, in their view, isn't the enemy, it's the arena where courage is forged. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor and philosopher, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. His words remind us that fear often arises from uncertainty, from things we can't control. But even in the face of fear, we have control over how we respond. Courage, then, isn't about eliminating fear. It's about choosing to move forward despite it. Think about this in the context of everyday life. Maybe you've hesitated to take a risk applying for a new job, starting a difficult conversation, or stepping outside your comfort zone. Fear might whisper doubts, telling you to play it safe. But what if, instead of letting fear dictate your choices, you saw it as a signal, a sign that you're on the edge of growth, that you're about to do something meaningful? That's the Stoic perspective. Fear isn't a stop sign, it's a starting line. Let's bring this into a practical example. Imagine you're preparing to give a public speech. Your palms are sweaty, your heart is racing, and the fear of judgment feels overwhelming. In that moment, courage isn't about feeling calm or confident. It's about stepping onto the stage anyway, speaking your truth even when your voice shakes. It's about proving to yourself that fear doesn't have the final say. Stoicism also teaches us that courage isn't just about grand gestures. It's found in the small, everyday choices, standing up for what you believe in, admitting when you're wrong, or choosing kindness even when it's hard. These acts of bravery, though they might seem minor, ripple outward, shaping not just our lives but the lives of those around us. So, here's a challenge for you. What's one fear you can face with courage this week? Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, trying something new, or having a difficult conversation. Whatever it is, take that first step, because courage isn't about waiting for fear to disappear. It's about choosing to act even when it's uncomfortable. And in that choice, you'll find not just strength, but freedom. What if failure wasn't the end, but the beginning of growth? This is the Stoic perspective on failure, a mindset that transforms setbacks into stepping stones. For the Stoics, failure wasn't something to fear or avoid. It was an essential part of the journey toward becoming our best selves. Instead of seeing failure as a reflection of our worth, they saw it as a mirror, revealing areas for improvement and opportunities for growth. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, once said, "Failure is not falling down but refusing to get up." His words remind us that failure itself isn't the problem, it's how we respond to it. When we view failure through this lens, it becomes less about what went wrong and more about what we can learn. It's not a dead end, it's a detour guiding us toward a better path. Think about this in the context of innovation. Some of the greatest breakthroughs in history, from scientific discoveries to technological advancements, came after repeated failures. Thomas Edison, for example, famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This Stoic-like resilience allowed him to turn failure into progress, using each setback as a lesson rather than a defeat. Let's bring this closer to home. Imagine you've just received a rejection, perhaps for a job, a project, or even a personal goal. The initial sting is real, but what if you paused and asked yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me better prepared for the next opportunity? This shift in perspective doesn't erase the disappointment, but it transforms it into something constructive. The Stoics also emphasized the importance of humility in failure. When we accept that we're not infallible, we open ourselves to growth. Each mistake becomes a chance to refine our character, to strengthen our resolve, and to deepen our understanding of what truly matters. This isn't about striving for perfection, it's about striving for progress. So, here's a question to reflect on. What's one recent failure you've experienced, and what did it teach you? Maybe it revealed a hidden strength, exposed an area for improvement, or simply reminded you of your humanity. Take a moment to consider how that experience shaped you and how it might continue to guide you forward. Because when we embrace failure as a teacher, we unlock the potential for endless growth. Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. These words, often attributed to Leonardo da Vinci, capture the essence of what Stoicism teaches about the art of living. In a world that often feels overwhelming, filled with endless distractions, constant noise, and the relentless pursuit of more, Stoicism offers a refreshing alternative: the power of simplicity. It's not about deprivation or minimalism for its own sake. It's about stripping away the unnecessary to focus on what truly matters. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, put it this way: wealth consists not in having great possessions, but in having few wants. This profound statement challenges us to rethink our relationship with material things, achievements, and even our own desires. Simplicity, in the Stoic sense, isn't about owning less, it's about wanting less. It's about finding contentment in what we already have and freeing ourselves from the endless cycle of craving more. At its core, Stoic simplicity is about clarity. When we remove the clutter, whether it's physical, mental, or emotional, we create space to focus on what truly aligns with our values. Think about it this way: if your mind is crowded with worries about what you don't have, how can you fully appreciate what you do? Simplicity allows us to see clearly, to prioritize purpose over possessions, and to live with intention rather than impulse. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're feeling overwhelmed by your scheduled meetings, deadlines, social obligations, and a never-ending to-do list. Now, imagine taking a step back and asking yourself, what's truly essential here? What can I let go of without compromising what matters most? This act of simplification doesn't just free up time, it reduces stress and restores a sense of control. It's about saying yes to what aligns with your values and no to what doesn't. Stoicism also teaches us to simplify our internal world. How often do we carry the weight of past regrets or future anxieties, allowing them to cloud our present moment? By practicing Stoic detachment, letting go of what we can't control, we lighten that load. We learn to focus on the here and now, finding peace in the simplicity of the present. So, here's a question to reflect on. What's one area of your life that could benefit from simplification? Maybe it's your schedule, your possessions, or even your mindset. Take a moment to consider what you might release, not out of obligation, but out of a desire to live more intentionally. Because when we simplify, we don't just create space, we create freedom. And in that freedom, we find the clarity to live a life of purpose and meaning. How often do you pause to reflect on your thoughts and actions? In the hustle of daily life, it's easy to move from one task to the next without taking a moment to look inward. But Stoicism teaches us that self-reflection isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity for living with intention and virtue. It's the practice of stepping back, examining our choices, and ensuring they align with our deepest values. Without reflection, we risk drifting through life on autopilot, reacting rather than responding, and missing opportunities to grow. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, understood this deeply. He wrote, "You should scrutinize your thoughts and actions every day. Ask yourself, what have I done today that aligns with my values? Where have I fallen short?" This daily practice of self-examination isn't about self-criticism, it's about self-awareness. It's a way to hold ourselves accountable, to celebrate progress, and to identify areas where we can improve. Self-reflection is a cornerstone of Stoic virtue. It helps us cultivate wisdom by examining our decisions, justice by considering how our actions affect others, and temperance by evaluating whether we're acting out of impulse or intention. It's a tool for aligning our outer actions with our inner principles, ensuring that we live not just efficiently, but meaningfully. One of the most practical ways to practice self-reflection is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts at the end of the day creates a space for honesty and clarity. It's a chance to ask yourself, what went well today? Where did I struggle? How did I respond to challenges? This simple act of putting pen to paper can help you spot patterns, celebrate small victories, and identify areas for growth. Let's take this into a real-world example. Imagine you had a difficult conversation with a colleague today. You left feeling frustrated and unsure if you handled it well. Instead of letting those feelings linger, you take 5 minutes before bed to reflect. You write down what happened, how you felt, and what you might do differently next time. This process doesn't just help you process the event, it empowers you to approach similar situations with greater clarity and confidence in the future. So here's an invitation for you. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take 5 minutes to reflect on your day. What moments stood out to you? How did you respond to challenges? What can you learn from today to make tomorrow better? This small act of self-reflection isn't just a Stoic practice, it's a gift to yourself, a way to live with greater awareness, purpose, and growth. Because when we take the time to look inward, we create the space to live outward with intention and integrity. A true leader leads with wisdom, not ego. This simple yet profound truth lies at the heart of Stoic leadership. While many think of leadership as a position of power or control, Stoicism reframes it as a responsibility, a chance to serve, inspire, and guide others with humility and purpose. At its core, Stoic leadership isn't about being the loudest voice in the room. It's about being the most grounded, the most thoughtful, and the most willing to put others first. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most influential thinkers, once said, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." This idea applies powerfully to leadership. A Stoic leader doesn't shy away from challenges, they embrace them as opportunities to grow, both for themselves and their team. They lead by example, showing resilience in the face of adversity and grace under pressure. This kind of leadership isn't just about making decisions, it's about embodying the virtues you want to see in others. One of the key principles of Stoic leadership is humility. It's about recognizing that no leader has all the answers and that true strength comes from listening, learning, and collaborating. A Stoic leader doesn't let ego cloud their judgment or dictate their actions. Instead, they approach every situation with an open mind and a willingness to adapt. This humility fosters trust, creating an environment where team members feel valued and empowered to contribute their best. Empathy is another cornerstone of Stoic leadership. Stoicism teaches us to see others not as obstacles or tools, but as fellow human beings with their own struggles and strengths. A Stoic leader takes the time to understand the perspectives and emotions of those they lead. They don't dismiss concerns or brush aside feedback. They listen deeply, respond thoughtfully, and act with compassion. This doesn't mean avoiding tough decisions. It means making them with care and respect for the people they affect. Decisiveness, too, is a hallmark of Stoic leadership. While humility and empathy are essential, they must be balanced with the ability to act with clarity and conviction. Stoicism teaches us to focus on what's within our control, our choices, our actions, and our responses. A Stoic leader doesn't get paralyzed by indecision or overwhelmed by uncertainty. They gather the facts, weigh the options, and move forward with confidence, knowing that even imperfect action is better than inaction. So, how can Stoic leadership inspire teams and foster trust? Imagine a leader who remains calm during a crisis, who listens to concerns without judgment, and who makes decisions with both wisdom and heart. This kind of leadership doesn't just solve problems, it builds loyalty, encourages collaboration, and creates a culture of mutual respect. When a leader embodies Stoic principles, they don't just lead, they elevate everyone around them. Now, here's a question for you to reflect on. How can you lead more stoically in your role, whether at work, at home, or in your community? What's one way you can practice humility, empathy, or decisiveness today? Because the truth is, leadership isn't about titles or authority, it's about influence. And when you lead with Stoic wisdom, you don't just transform your own life, you inspire others to do the same. What are you holding onto that's weighing you down? It's a question worth asking because more often than we realize, the things we cling to, whether it's a grudge, a regret, or even an outdated idea of who we should be, don't serve us. They hold us back, draining our energy and clouding our clarity. Stoicism offers a powerful antidote to this, the art of letting go. At its core, this practice isn't about giving up or losing something. It's about freeing ourselves from what no longer serves us, creating space for what truly matters. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "Freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control." His words remind us that letting go isn't about apathy or indifference. It's about reclaiming our power. When we release our grip on what we can't control, whether it's other people's opinions, past mistakes, or future uncertainties, we find a profound sense of freedom. This freedom allows us to focus on what we can influence, our thoughts, our actions, and our choices. Letting go also aligns with the Stoic principle of acceptance. Life is unpredictable and change is inevitable. When we resist this truth, we create unnecessary suffering, but when we accept it, we open ourselves to peace. Think of it like holding onto a rope that's pulling you into a storm. The tighter you grip, the more you're dragged into chaos. But if you let go, you can step back, regain your balance, and find calm amidst the turbulence. So, how can you apply this in your own life? Start by identifying what's no longer serving you. Maybe it's a habit that's holding you back, a relationship that's run its course, or even an expectation you've placed on yourself that no longer fits. Once you've named it, ask yourself, what would happen if I released this? What would I gain? More peace, more energy, more clarity? Here's a practical example. Imagine you've been carrying a grudge against someone who wronged you. It's been months, maybe even years, but the anger still lingers. Now, imagine consciously choosing to let it go, not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. That act of release doesn't just free you from the past, it opens the door to a lighter, more present way of living. So here's a challenge for you. What's one thing you can let go of today? It doesn't have to be monumental, just something that's been weighing on you. Take a moment to reflect on how releasing it might change your perspective, your energy, or even your day. Because when we let go of what no longer serves us, we don't just create space, we create possibility. And in that possibility, we find the freedom to live more fully, more authentically, and more at peace. Patience is not passive, it's a powerful act of self-control. In a world that often feels like it's moving at breakneck speed, Stoicism offers a refreshing perspective. Patience isn't about waiting idly. It's about choosing to respond thoughtfully rather than react impulsively. It's a deliberate practice, a way of exercising mastery over our emotions and actions, even when everything around us seems to demand urgency. The Stoics saw patience as one of the highest virtues, a cornerstone of wisdom and temperance. It's not about enduring frustration or suppressing desires. It's about aligning our actions with reason, even when the world tempts us to rush. Seneca, the Roman Stoic philosopher, put it this way: the greatest remedy for anger is delay. His words remind us that patience isn't just a virtue, it's a tool for clarity, helping us navigate challenges with calm and purpose. At its core, Stoic patience is about perspective. When we slow down, we create space to see situations more clearly, to weigh our options, and to act in ways that align with our values. Think about it this way: a rushed decision might feel satisfying in the moment, but it often leads to regret. Patience, on the other hand, allows us to act with intention, ensuring that our choices reflect who we are and what we stand for. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're in a heated argument with a loved one. Emotions are running high, and every instinct might be telling you to lash out or defend yourself. But what if, instead of reacting in the heat of the moment, you paused? What if you took a deep breath, stepped back, and gave yourself time to respond thoughtfully? That small act of patience can transform the entire dynamic, turning a potential conflict into an opportunity for understanding and connection. Patience also plays a crucial role in decision-making. Whether it's choosing a career path, making a financial investment, or even deciding how to spend your time, rushing can lead to choices that don't align with your long-term goals. Stoicism teaches us to approach decisions with a steady hand, to gather information, reflect on our priorities, and act only when we're confident in our direction. This doesn't mean avoiding action. It means ensuring that our actions are grounded in reason, not impulse. So here's a question to reflect on. Where in your life could patience make a difference? Is it in how you approach challenges at work, how you navigate relationships, or even how you respond to your own thoughts and emotions? Take a moment to think about a situation where patience could have led to a better outcome and how you might practice it moving forward. Because when we embrace patience, we don't just wait, we grow. And in that growth, we find the strength to move through life with clarity, purpose, and grace. What if you prepared for the worst while hoping for the best? This might sound counterintuitive, but it's the essence of the Stoic practice of negative visualization. At its core, negative visualization is about imagining potential challenges or hardships before they happen, not to dwell on them, but to prepare for them. It's a mental exercise that strengthens resilience, cultivates gratitude, and helps us face uncertainty with greater clarity and calm. Seneca, the Stoic philosopher, offered a powerful insight into this practice. What is quite unlooked for is more crushing in its effect, and unexpectedness adds to the weight of a disaster. This is a reason for ensuring that nothing ever takes us by surprise. His words remind us that when we anticipate difficulties, we're less likely to be blindsided by them. Negative visualization isn't about expecting the worst, It's about being ready for it so we can respond with intention rather than panic. So how does this work in practice? Let's say you're about to give a presentation at work. You've prepared thoroughly, but there's still that nagging fear of something going wrong. Instead of pushing that fear away, what if you paused and imagined the worst-case scenario? What if the projector fails or you forget your key points? By visualizing these possibilities, you're not creating fear, you're preparing for it. You're giving yourself a mental roadmap for how you'd handle those challenges, which reduces anxiety and builds confidence. Negative visualization also has a surprising side effect. It fosters gratitude. When we imagine losing what we have, a job, a relationship, even our health, we're reminded of how valuable those things are. This isn't about creating fear of loss. It's about deepening our appreciation for the present. It's a way of saying, this is what I have right now, and I'm going to cherish it. This shift in perspective can be incredibly grounding, especially in moments of stress or uncertainty. Here's a practical way to apply this in your own life. Take a moment to think about one area where you're feeling anxious about the future. Maybe it's a financial decision, a relationship, or a professional goal. Now imagine the worst-case scenario. What would it look like? How would you handle it? By walking through this exercise, you're not just preparing for challenges, you're also reminding yourself of your own resilience. So here's an invitation for you. Try practicing negative visualization today. Choose one potential challenge and spend a few minutes imagining how you'd navigate it. Notice how this exercise shifts your perspective, not just on the challenge itself, but on your ability to face it. Because when we prepare for adversity, we don't just build resilience, we create the space to live more fully in the present with gratitude and purpose. Every decision is an opportunity to practice virtue. This is the heart of Stoic decision-making, a process that goes beyond logic and strategy to align our choices with our deepest values. For the Stoics, every choice, no matter how small, is a chance to embody wisdom, justice, courage, and temperance. It's not just about what we decide, but how we decide, ensuring that our actions reflect who we aspire to be. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once wrote, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be one." His words remind us that decision-making isn't a theoretical exercise, it's a practical one. It's about grounding our choices in principles, not impulses. Whether we're deciding what to say in a difficult conversation, how to allocate our time, or which path to take in our careers, Stoicism teaches us to ask, does this align with my values? Does this serve the greater good? So how does this work in practice? Let's say you're faced with a tough decision at work. Maybe it's whether to speak up about a concern or stay silent to avoid conflict. A Stoic approach would begin with reason. You'd weigh the facts, consider the potential impact on others, and reflect on your own principles. Is staying silent in line with your value of honesty? Or does speaking up, even at the risk of discomfort, better reflect who you want to be? By anchoring your decision in virtue, you move beyond self-interest and fear, choosing a path that feels both authentic and purposeful. Stoic decision-making also emphasizes the importance of perspective. When we're faced with a difficult choice, it's easy to get caught up in the immediate emotions, fear, doubt, or even excitement. But Stoicism invites us to step back and ask, how will this decision look in a week, a month, or a year? What's the bigger picture here? This shift in perspective helps us see beyond the moment, making choices that are thoughtful rather than reactive. Now, here's a question for you to reflect on. What's one decision you're facing right now, and how could you approach it more stoically? Could you slow down, consider your values, and choose a path that aligns with the person you want to become? Because when we make decisions with virtue as our guide, we don't just solve problems, we grow. And in that growth, we find not just better outcomes, but a deeper sense of integrity and purpose. How do you respond when someone criticizes you? It's a question that can stir up a mix of emotions: defensiveness, frustration, even self-doubt. But what if criticism didn't have to feel like an attack? What if it could be an opportunity for growth? This is where Stoicism offers a profound shift in perspective. Instead of viewing criticism as a threat, Stoics see it as feedback, a chance to learn, improve, and strengthen our character. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, once said, "If anyone tells you that a certain person speaks ill of you, do not make excuses about what is said, but answer, 'He was ignorant of my other faults, else he would not have mentioned these alone.'" His words remind us that criticism often says more about the critic than it does about us. It's not a judgment of our worth, but a reflection of someone else's perspective. When we stop taking it personally, we free ourselves from the weight of others' opinions. At its core, the Stoic approach to criticism is about detachment. It's about separating our sense of self from what others say or think. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or dismissing it outright. Instead, it's about evaluating it with clarity and objectivity. Is the criticism valid? Does it point to an area where we can grow? If so, we can use it as a tool for improvement. If not, we can let it go without letting it define us. Let's bring this into a practical scenario. Imagine you've just received feedback on a project at work. Some of it is constructive, but some feels overly harsh or unfair. Instead of reacting defensively, you take a moment to pause and reflect. You ask yourself, what can I learn from this? What's within my control here? By approaching the situation with curiosity rather than resistance, you not only diffuse the emotional charge but also open yourself to meaningful growth. Handling criticism well also has a ripple effect on our relationships. When we respond with grace instead of defensiveness, we create an environment of trust and respect. People feel heard and conflicts are less likely to escalate. Over time, this builds stronger connections both personally and professionally. So, here's a question to reflect on. Think about a recent criticism you received. How did you respond? Did it feel like an attack, or did you see it as an opportunity to grow? Take a moment to consider how you might approach criticism differently, using Stoic principles to guide your response. Because when we learn to handle criticism with grace, we don't just improve ourselves, we transform how we engage with the world around us. Procrastination is the enemy of progress. It's a universal struggle, one that can quietly sabotage our goals and leave us feeling stuck. But what if the key to overcoming procrastination lies not in sheer willpower, but in a shift of mindset? This is where Stoic philosophy offers a powerful perspective. The Stoics didn't see procrastination as a mere lack of motivation. They saw it as a failure to align our actions with purpose. By focusing on what's within our control and taking deliberate steps forward, we can break free from the cycle of delay and move toward meaningful progress. Seneca, the Roman Stoic, put it plainly: begin at once to live and count each separate day as a separate life. His words remind us that time is our most precious resource, and procrastination is a form of self-betrayal. Every moment we delay is a moment we can't reclaim. The Stoics didn't advocate for perfection or relentless hustle. They encouraged us to act with intention, to start where we are, and to make the most of the time we have. So, how does this translate into practical action? One effective strategy is breaking tasks into smaller, manageable steps. Procrastination often stems from feeling overwhelmed by the size or complexity of a task. But when we focus on taking just the first step, we create momentum that makes the next step easier. It's not about finishing the entire project in one go, it's about beginning, no matter how small that beginning might be. Let's bring this into a real-world example. Imagine you've been putting off writing a report or starting a new project. Instead of thinking about the whole task, focus on the first action. Maybe it's outlining the structure, writing the first sentence, or gathering your materials. By taking that one small step, you shift from avoidance to action, and that shift can be transformative. Stoicism also teaches us to reframe how we think about tasks. Instead of seeing them as burdens, we can view them as opportunities to practice discipline and purpose. Every task, no matter how mundane, is a chance to exercise our will, to align our actions with our values, and to grow stronger in the process. Now, here's a challenge for you. What's one task you've been avoiding? It could be as simple as replying to an email, starting a workout routine, or tackling a creative project. Identify it and then take the first step, no matter how small. Notice how that single act of initiation changes your mindset and propels you forward. Because when we stop waiting for the perfect moment and start acting in the present, we don't just overcome procrastination, we reclaim our power to create the life we want. Are your actions aligned with your values? It's a simple question, but one that can reveal a lot about how we move through the world. Stoicism teaches us that every action, whether big or small, is an opportunity to live with intention and purpose. It's not just about what we do, but how we do it, ensuring that our choices reflect our deepest principles and aspirations. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You could leave life right now." Let that determine what you do and say and think. His words are a powerful reminder that life is fleeting, and every moment is a chance to act with mindfulness and deliberation. For the Stoics, mindful action isn't about perfection or grand gestures. It's about being fully present in what we do, ensuring that our actions align with our values and contribute to a life of meaning. So, what does mindful action look like in practice? It's about pausing before you act, asking yourself, does this align with who I want to be? Am I responding thoughtfully or reacting impulsively? It's the difference between scrolling through your phone out of habit and choosing to spend that time connecting with a loved one or working toward a goal. It's about bringing awareness to the small, everyday choices that shape our lives. Consider this example. You're in a meeting and someone says something you disagree with. Your first instinct might be to interrupt or defend your position. But what if instead you paused, listened fully, and then responded with clarity and respect? That small act of mindfulness not only improves the quality of the conversation, but also reinforces your commitment to patience and understanding. Mindful action also has a ripple effect on our productivity and fulfillment. When we act with purpose, we're more focused, more efficient, and more likely to achieve our goals. It's not about doing more, it's about doing what matters. By aligning our actions with our values, we create a sense of coherence and integrity that fuels both our progress and our peace of mind. Now, here's a question to reflect on. What's one action you can take more mindfully today? Maybe it's how you approach a task at work, how you engage in a conversation, or even how you spend your free time. Take a moment to think about how you can bring greater awareness and intention to that moment. Because when we act with mindfulness, we don't just move through life, we shape it one deliberate choice at a time. Resilience is not innate, it's built through practice. This is a truth the Stoics understood deeply. While some people may seem naturally tough, the ability to bounce back from setbacks isn't something you're born with, it's something you develop. Stoicism teaches us that resilience is a skill, honed through adversity and strengthened by the way we choose to respond to life's challenges. It's not about avoiding hardship, but about learning to navigate it with strength and purpose. The Stoics believed that adversity is a teacher, not an enemy. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most influential voices, put it this way: difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. His words remind us that hardship isn't a sign of failure, it's an opportunity to grow. When we face challenges head-on, we build mental and emotional muscle, developing the resilience to handle whatever comes our way. So how does this work in practice? Let's say you've experienced a professional setback. Maybe a project didn't go as planned, or you didn't get the promotion you were hoping for. In that moment, it's easy to feel defeated. But what if, instead of dwelling on the disappointment, you asked yourself, what can I learn from this? How can this experience make me stronger? This shift in perspective doesn't erase the pain, but it transforms it into a catalyst for growth. Resilience also plays a key role in personal relationships. Imagine you're navigating a conflict with a loved one. Emotions are running high, and it feels like the relationship is on shaky ground. A Stoic approach would involve stepping back, reflecting on the bigger picture, and choosing to respond with patience and understanding. By focusing on what you can control, your own actions and reactions, you create space for healing and connection, even in the face of difficulty. Now, here's a question for you to reflect on. What's one setback you're currently facing, and how could you approach it with greater resilience? Maybe it's a personal struggle, a professional challenge, or even a recurring frustration. Take a moment to consider how you might reframe this experience, seeing it not as a roadblock but as a chance to grow stronger. Because when we embrace resilience as a practice, we don't just survive life's storms, we learn to thrive in them. What would your life look like if you accepted what you cannot control? It's a question that cuts to the heart of Stoic philosophy, offering a radical shift in how we approach challenges. Stoicism teaches us that acceptance isn't about resignation or passivity. It's about recognizing the limits of our power and focusing our energy where it truly matters. When we stop fighting against what we can't change, we find a surprising sense of freedom and clarity. Epictetus, the Stoic philosopher, put it simply, make the best use of what is in your power and take the rest as it happens. His words remind us that acceptance isn't about giving up. It's about redirecting our efforts toward what we can influence. It's a practice of letting go of the struggle against the uncontrollable, freeing us to engage more fully with the present moment. This idea might sound simple, but its impact is profound. Think about how much of our stress and frustration comes from trying to control the uncontrollable, other people's opinions, external events, even the passage of time. When we shift our focus to acceptance, we release that tension. We stop wasting energy on what we can't change and start investing it in what we can. Take a practical example. Imagine you're stuck in a situation where you feel powerless. Maybe it's a job you can't leave right now or a relationship that's strained. Instead of resisting the reality, what if you accepted it for what it is? This doesn't mean you stop caring or stop trying to improve things. It means you stop fighting against the parts you can't change, freeing yourself to respond with clarity and intention. Acceptance also plays a powerful role in relationships. When we stop trying to control others, whether it's their actions, opinions, or choices, we create space for genuine connection. We learn to meet people where they are rather than where we want them to be. This shift can reduce conflict, deepen understanding, and foster a sense of peace in even the most challenging dynamics. Now, here's a question to reflect on. What's one thing in your life that you need to accept? Maybe it's a situation you can't change, a person you can't control, or even an aspect of yourself. Take a moment to consider how acceptance might change your relationship to that challenge. Because when we stop resisting what we can't control, we open ourselves to a deeper sense of calm, clarity, and possibility. Humility is the foundation of wisdom. This timeless truth lies at the heart of Stoic philosophy, offering a profound reminder that true growth begins with the recognition of our own limitations. The Stoics believed humility wasn't a sign of weakness or insecurity. It was a strength, a doorway to deeper understanding and connection. To be humble, in the Stoic sense, is to acknowledge that we don't have all the answers, that there's always more to learn, and that every person we meet has something to teach us. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, once wrote, "The nearer a man comes to a calm mind, the closer he is to strength." His words capture the essence of Stoic humility, a calm mind that doesn't seek to dominate or prove itself, but instead remains open, curious, and grounded. Humility, for the Stoics, wasn't about diminishing oneself. It was about seeing oneself clearly as part of a larger whole. It's the recognition that we're all works in progress, each of us navigating our own struggles and striving to grow. So, how does humility show up in practical ways? Consider leadership. A humble leader doesn't lead from a place of ego or authority, but from a place of service. They listen more than they speak, admit when they're wrong, and value the contributions of others. This kind of leadership doesn't just inspire trust, it fosters collaboration and innovation. In relationships, humility allows us to approach conflicts with curiosity rather than defensiveness. It helps us see the other person's perspective, even when we disagree, creating space for understanding and connection. Here's a simple way to practice humility in your own life. The next time you're in a conversation, resist the urge to interject or prove your point. Instead, listen deeply. Ask questions, seek to understand before being understood. This small shift can transform not just the conversation, but the quality of your relationships. Now, here's a question to reflect on. Where in your life could you practice more humility? Is it in how you approach challenges at work, how you navigate disagreements, or even how you see your own strengths and weaknesses? Take a moment to consider how embracing humility might change the way you engage with the world around you. Because when we approach life with humility, we don't just grow wiser, we create the space for others to grow with us. How often do you pause to reflect on your day? In the rush of life, it's easy to move from one task to the next without stopping to consider what we've learned or how we've grown. But the Stoics understood that daily reflection isn't just a helpful habit, it's essential for living with intention and virtue. By taking time to look back on our actions, thoughts, and choices, we create space to align ourselves more deeply with our values and purpose. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most profound thinkers, once wrote, "When the light has been removed and my wife has fallen silent, I examine my entire day and go back over what I've done and said, hiding nothing from myself, passing nothing by." This practice of nightly reflection wasn't about self-criticism or regret. It was about self-awareness. It allowed Seneca to celebrate his progress, identify areas for improvement, and ensure that each day brought him closer to living in harmony with Stoic principles. Daily reflection serves as a mirror, helping us see where we've acted with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance, and where we might have fallen short. It's not about perfection, it's about progress. By reviewing our day, we can spot patterns in our behavior, recognize triggers for unhelpful emotions, and make more intentional choices moving forward. It's a way of holding ourselves accountable, not to an external standard, but to the person we aspire to become. One of the most practical ways to practice daily reflection is through journaling. Writing down your thoughts at the end of the day creates a quiet space for honesty and clarity. You might ask yourself, what went well today? Where did I struggle? How did I respond to challenges? Did my actions align with my values? This simple act of putting pen to paper helps you process your experiences, celebrate small victories, and identify opportunities for growth. Let's bring this into a real-world example. Imagine you had a tough conversation with a colleague earlier in the day. You left feeling frustrated and unsure if you handled it well. Instead of letting those feelings linger, you take 5 minutes before bed to reflect. You write down what happened, how you felt, and what you might do differently next time. This process doesn't just help you process the event, It empowers you to approach similar situations with greater clarity and confidence in the future. So here's an invitation for you. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take 5 minutes to reflect on your day. What moments stood out to you? How did you respond to challenges? What can you learn from today to make tomorrow better? This small act of self-reflection isn't just a Stoic practice, it's a gift to yourself, a way to live with greater awareness, purpose, and growth. Because when we take the time to look inward, we create the space to live outward with intention and integrity. Inner peace is not the absence of chaos, it's the ability to remain calm within it. This is one of the most profound lessons Stoicism offers. Life will always have its storms, but Stoicism teaches us how to find stillness in the midst of them. The key lies not in trying to control the external world, but in mastering our internal response to it. Inner peace, from a Stoic perspective, is a state of mind, a quiet resilience that allows us to navigate life's challenges with clarity and composure. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor, once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength." His words remind us that tranquility isn't something we find by changing the world around us. It's something we cultivate within ourselves. It's about accepting what we cannot control and focusing our energy on what we can, our thoughts, our actions, and our choices. Stoicism teaches that inner peace begins with acceptance. Life is unpredictable, and much of what happens is beyond our control. When we resist this truth, we create unnecessary suffering. But when we accept it, we free ourselves from the struggle. This doesn't mean we stop caring or stop striving for improvement. It means we stop fighting against the inevitable, allowing us to respond to challenges with calm and purpose. Detachment is another cornerstone of Stoic peace. The Stoics understood that our happiness often becomes tied to external things, our possessions, our status, even the opinions of others. When we detach from these things, we reclaim our inner freedom. We learn to find contentment not in what we have, but in who we are. This shift in perspective can be incredibly liberating, helping us move through life with a sense of lightness and ease. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, late for an important meeting. The frustration builds, and it's easy to let that stress take over. But what if, instead of resisting the situation, you paused and reminded yourself, "I can't control the traffic, but I can control how I respond to it." That small act of acceptance and detachment can transform the experience, turning a moment of chaos into an opportunity for peace. Inner peace also has a profound impact on our mental health and relationships. When we're grounded and calm, we're better equipped to handle stress, communicate effectively, and connect with others. It's not just about feeling good, it's about creating a foundation for a more fulfilling life. So, here's a question for you to reflect on. What's one practice that helps you find peace? Maybe it's meditation, journaling, or simply taking a walk in nature. Take a moment to consider how you might deepen that practice using Stoic principles to guide you. Because when we cultivate inner peace, we don't just change our own lives, we create a ripple effect of calm and clarity that touches everyone around us. Are you living in alignment with your true self? It's a question that strikes at the heart of what it means to live authentically, a concept deeply rooted in Stoic philosophy. Stoicism teaches us that authenticity isn't about chasing external approval or conforming to societal expectations. It's about staying true to our inner values, even when the world pulls us in different directions. For the Stoics, living authentically means aligning our actions with our principles, regardless of what others think or say. Epictetus, one of Stoicism's most influential voices, captured this idea beautifully when he said, "If you wish to improve, be content to appear clueless or stupid in extraneous matters." His words remind us that authenticity often requires letting go of the need to impress or prove ourselves. It's about being unapologetically who we are, even if it means standing out or being misunderstood. This isn't always easy, but it's profoundly liberating. At its core, Stoic authenticity is about self-awareness. It's about knowing what truly matters to us and making choices that reflect those values. When we live authentically, we stop seeking validation from outside sources and start finding confidence within. This doesn't mean ignoring feedback or refusing to grow. It means filtering that feedback through the lens of our own principles, choosing what aligns with who we are and what we stand for. Let's bring this into a practical context. Imagine you're in a situation where you feel pressured to conform, maybe at work, in a social setting, or even within your family. The easy path might be to go along with the crowd to avoid conflict or judgment. But what if instead you paused and asked yourself, does this feel true to me? Does it align with my values? That moment of reflection can be transformative, helping you choose authenticity over conformity. Living authentically also has a ripple effect on our relationships and sense of fulfillment. When we show up as our true selves, we attract people and opportunities that resonate with who we really are. We build connections based on honesty and trust rather than pretense. Over time, this creates a life that feels not only more genuine but also more meaningful. So, here's a question to reflect on. What's one way you can embrace greater authenticity in your life? Is it by speaking your truth more openly, pursuing a passion you've been neglecting, or simply being kinder to yourself when you make mistakes? Take a moment to consider how living more authentically might change your experience of the world and your relationship with yourself. Because when we stop trying to be who we think we should be and start embracing who we truly are, we unlock a deeper sense of purpose, confidence, and joy. As we wrap up this journey through the timeless wisdom of Stoic mentorship, let's take a moment to reflect on the principles that can help us conquer life's battles with fierce discipline and purpose. At the heart of Stoicism lies self-mastery, the ability to govern our thoughts, emotions, and actions even in the face of adversity. It's about recognizing that while we can't control everything that happens to us, we can always control how we respond. This inner strength is the foundation of resilience, the kind that allows us to rise after every fall and grow stronger with every challenge. Resilience, as the Stoics teach us, isn't about avoiding pain or hardship. It's about facing it head-on, learning from it, and using it as fuel for growth. Whether it's through practices like negative visualization, the dichotomy of control, or the art of letting go, Stoicism equips us with tools to navigate life's storms with clarity and calm. These aren't just abstract ideas, they're actionable strategies that can transform how we approach our daily struggles, relationships, and goals. Purposeful action is another cornerstone of Stoic philosophy. It's about aligning our choices with our deepest values, ensuring that every step we take moves us closer to the person we aspire to be. When we act with intention, we stop drifting through life and start shaping it. This isn't about perfection, it's about progress. It's about showing up day after day with discipline and determination, even when it's hard. Seneca, one of Stoicism's most eloquent voices, once wrote, "It is not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It is because we do not dare that they are difficult." These words remind us that the power to overcome life's challenges lies within us. It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or the right circumstances, it's about daring to act, even when the path ahead feels uncertain. So, as you move forward, I invite you to reflect on how these Stoic principles can guide you in your own life. Where can you practice greater self-mastery? How can you build resilience in the face of adversity? What purposeful actions can you take today to align your life with your values? If this journey through Stoic wisdom has resonated with you, I'd love to hear your thoughts. How do you plan to apply these principles in your own life? Share your reflections in the comments below. And if you're eager to dive deeper into Stoic philosophy, consider subscribing for more insights and practical tools to help you live with greater clarity, strength, and purpose. Remember, the battles we face in life aren't just obstacles, they're opportunities. Opportunities to grow, to learn, and to become the best versions of ourselves. With the fierce discipline of Stoic mentorship, you have everything you need to conquer them. So take that first step, embrace the journey, and let Stoicism light